Hi everyone, my name is Amira Adel. Today I'm talking with you about Bani Mazar massacre that happened 16 years old. The events of that bloody crime happened on December the 29th, 2005 in Minya Governorate, Upper Egypt. Investigations, official papers and forensic reports prove that the killer committed 10 murders to remove human organs from the bodies of individuals belonging to 3 different families, and the killer is still unknown. That crime became one of the most prominent issues that occupied public opinion, and the media took care of it by conveying its details and facts moment by moment. The investigations revealed the details of that massacre, which began after midnight, after the killer headed towards the first house and killed a man, his wife and their 2 children, Ahmed 8 years and Fatma 6 years, while they slept. And in the second house, he killed young lawyer called Taha, 28 years old, and his mother, and concluded his crime by killing a teacher called Ahmed, 48 years, his wife, 35 years, their daughter called Asma, and their son Mahmoud, 7 months. This means that he killed 3 men, 3 women, 2 boys, and 2 girls. After the crime, the prosecution's examination of the bodies of the victims revealed that the killer slaughtered his victims using a sharp knife and killed all the victims in one way, by inflicting a cut wound extending from the middle of the neck to the bottom of the ear. Brutally mutilated their bodies, so he extracted their male and female genitals. And that the crime took about 2.5 hours before the sun rose. The killer crept in the dark late at night after making sure that the streets of the village were empty on that cold night. He broke into the houses through the roofs, and there are no signs of violence or broken doors and windows of the houses, as they were all closed from the inside, and surprised the victims while they were sleeping, smashing their heads with a sharp object, then mutilating their bodies after their death. He left no traces or clues behind, and none of the corpses showed any signs of resistance suggestive or justifying the killer. And the security services moved to reveal the identity of the killer and to investigate his real motives for committing that crime. And it became clear that there was no thefts or rivalries that justify the killer to avenge the victims. The 3 houses in which the crime occurred are located on one main street in the village, which is the widest street, and that the first house is about 250 meters away from the main road, and next to it the other 2 houses. The killer was able to move between the 3 houses through the roofs without breaking doors or windows. The problem with the research team was that the 3 families have no empty with anyone, and they are not linked to each other by any link except the neighborhood. Traditional motives for killing in Upper Egypt, such as revenge, land disputes, honor killings, or others, were excluded. The brother of one of the victims said that he works at a baker in the village bakery, and he used to wake up at 5 o'clock in the morning every day to go to pray in the mosque, and then go to the house of his mother who lives with brother Taha to wake them up. That morning he knocked on the door of the house without anyone answering, so he used a copy of the door key and noticed that the hall lamp went out unusually. His mother always left it lit during the night, so he went to her room to wake her up. He found her dead body soaked in her blood, and a violent shock hit him. He rushed to his brother to wake him up in the next room, and he found him also drenched in his blood. And here he screamed for help from the neighbors. Then he fell unconscious and didn't know anything after that. A child called Mahmoud, a preparatory student, was in his way to his father's house, and he had forgotten his school book, and he went home to take the book before he went to school. Loud voices came to the boy. He watched the men crying, the women screaming, and terror struck his little heart. His steps rushed to his house, and when he opened the door, his cries rose, and on the ground the bodies of his father, mother, brother Mahmoud, and sister Asma were drenched in their blood, and his heart couldn't bear the horror of the shock, so he also fell dead next to them. After a few days, rumors spread that the jinn were responsible for these crimes, and that it is not reasonable that one person can kill 10 people in just 2.5 hours, and move between 3 houses easily and without anyone stopping him or feeling him, until the security services succeeded in arresting a young man suffering from mental illness named Muhammad Abdul Latif, who is 27 years old. He was brought to trial after swift procedures by the investigation authorities. At that time, it was reported that the accused had found a large treasure under the village and tried to reach it, but he fell. So he decided to use the jinn, who asked for 5 male genitalia, 5 for women and children, and 5 heads of pigeons for sacrifice. A rumor spread like a wildfire that there was a pharaonic cemetery full of treasures in a secret place under the village, and and that the killer had found it by chance, and that he tried a lot to open it and his attempts failed. And he committed his crime in order for the jinn to enable him to open the cemetery and obtain the cursed treasure, which reveals the secret of finding slaughtered pigeons next to every dead body. He chose male pigeons and slaughtered them next to the bodies of males, female pigeons next to women, and young pigeons next to children. The Minya Criminal Court deliberated the case over a period of 7 sessions before acquitting the accused. The Court of Cassation upheld the verdict acquitting the accused of the charges brought against him, and clarified in its decision that there was a contradiction between the accused's confession of committing the massacre because he was suffering from a mental disorder, and the report of the Psychiatric Medical Committee which confirmed the soundness of his mental faculties, and that it's impossible for him to slaughter 10 people within 2.5 hours. In addition to the fact that the one who carried out the process of cutting the stomachs of the victims without affecting the intestines and the internal parts of the abdomen must be a professional person, and that the genital cutting was done in a medical manner. The lawyer of the accused presented a number of evidence that confirms the innocence of his client, including the shoes that they found in one of the houses of the incident, and they are a size 42, while his client wears a size 45. 3 years after that incident, the court acquitted the accused, and the file of Bani Mazar massacre was closed, and the real killer is still unknown.